Hey everyone, what's going on? This is the ASMR Cook, and I am trying out a new format of video. I'm actually completely new to doing ASMR videos, but someone told me that my first cooking video was really relaxing. They really liked my voice and decided that it put them to sleep. I don't think they really meant it as a compliment, but I thought I'd try to give you guys something interesting to look at. I know people like cooking videos, and there have been a bunch of cooking videos coming out in the ASMR community recently, and that's all I plan on doing. I have a main channel where I'm doing short cooking videos for everyone, but if people think that my voice is relaxing and that this works as an ASMR video, then I can just create an ASMR version each week. I'm going to do a little bit of talking over it, but I'm also going to try to let the sounds in the video also come through, because there's some good ones in here, and there's a few places where I did some sounds on purpose for ASMR, but not a whole lot of them. So I think in the future I'm going to try to do some tapping and shaking and more crinkling and things like that as things go along. If you guys have any feedback for me, I'd be happy to have it. Leave a comment. Let me know what I can do to make this a better video for you. And I guess I'll also describe what I'm doing normally, so that if you want to follow along with this and make some food, you can do that as well. This is going to be some broccoli nori salad. Nori is this seaweed that you basically use for making sushi, and you can use it for all kinds of other things. And one of the things you do in this recipe is just kind of chop it up in little pieces and put it in. It lends a really interesting flavor. I find that some people like this sound and some people don't, so if a lot of people don't, you can let me know and I won't put it in videos anymore. However, I would recommend that you have a nice sharp knife anytime that you start cooking, because a dull knife is actually what ends up getting you hurt. A sharp knife cuts through vegetables and fruits and meat and everything very cleanly and easily. And when you have a dull knife, you put a lot of pressure on it, and that tends to make the knife slip off the thing, and that's how you cut yourself. There's not a whole lot of ingredients in this, and the ingredients list says to taste on a lot of things. One of the things that I really think is great in the kitchen is that as you do things, you get better and better at them. And one of those things is seasoning, the amount of salt, the amount of pepper. It all helps after you keep doing it. You're going to want to cut right underneath the crown on these. Makes it into nice little bite-sized pieces, and then you can cut the stem into smaller pieces if you like. I really like the sound that the bowl made when I threw the things into it. It makes a nice kind of gong sound, or a bell. You do want to make sure that all these pieces are pretty much bite-sized, because when you eat it, you don't have to cut it up. You want all the pieces to be nice, fit right on your spoon or your fork. Be able to put it right in your mouth without having to chop things up on your plate. is pretty messy though. You end up with little pieces of the floret everywhere. Watching this as I'm doing the voiceover, I'm actually salivating. This was a really good salad, and I recommend you guys try it out. In the ingredients, it actually says to use chopped onion and fresh mint, which I think would be great in this. However, my wife and son aren't really big fans of either of those things, so I actually left them out. It was very good without those two things, but I think it'd be even better with them. I could just add a little bit of raw onion before I put it on my plate, but I was going to go buy a whole bunch of mint, and I don't currently have any growing in my herb pot since it's winter, or just starting spring really, but once I start planning everything, I'm probably going to grow a little bit of mint for my own tea and for recipes like this. Cut out a little spot there for my main video because that last piece of broccoli that I tossed off screen ended up in the other room and my cats were playing with it. You do want to be a little bit careful as you're doing this so you don't end up cutting right underneath the little spots at the top, because then you just end up with crumbles. You want to still have chunks, but they need to be small. If you don't like the texture of the stem, some people don't, they just like the top part. The stem's a little bit, it's got a little bit more bitterness, and it's also quite a lot more fibrous. If you don't like it, you can just leave that out, but honestly, in a salad like this, that extra crunch is pretty welcome. Next we're going to have some red cabbage. I'm going to slice it pretty thinly. If you have a mandolin, you should play a song. But if you have the kind that you use for chopping things up, you can use that to slice up the cabbage. I know that was a really horrible joke. You don't necessarily have to do this, but I was cutting out the core part of each of these. And then just kind of chop up the cabbage into smaller pieces. recipe calls for, I think, about a cup of it. You can really put in as much as you feel like. Try to keep my workspace clean while I'm cooking, but a lot of the time that's kind of hard to do when you're filming something like this. It takes a lot of time, and frankly, while I'm trying to get this all done and my kid's asleep, it makes it hard. So here's some nori sheets. This is a little bit embarrassing. I cut it out of my main video. There's definitely some tearing that goes on, some trouble getting through this. But it still has some nice sounds, so I'll leave it in for you guys. I think I probably would have been better off just doing one sheet at a time. But I was trying to save time by doing it together, and ended up probably taking more time overall. This is a little trick if you have a pizza cutter. It's especially good with one sheet of nori or wet nori if you went down a little bit ahead of time. It'll cut through pretty easily, or at least score a nice mark you can cut on. Basically cutting grooves into my cutting board, so maybe that wasn't the best idea. It's all getting chopped up and sent to your stomach anyway, right? I definitely should not have done this. I should have just done each piece. It was very hard to get through all of them at the same time. You know what? Watching this, I'm realizing I probably could have just used some kitchen shears. That would have really worked well here. So next time when I do it, I suggest if you decide to make this, you use some kitchen shears and you can just probably snip right through that. It's amazing when you watch yourself do something. I'm watching and realizing how horribly unsafe that is to have to do that right next to my fingers the way I was holding it. I recommend that you don't do things that are unsafe in the kitchen. we're going to do is put in all the other ingredients. There's around 2 tablespoons in there, but I actually put in more other ingredients than I was supposed to make a slightly larger batch, so I put in a 1/3 spoon there. Rice vinegar. It says to taste, I do about a 1/4 cup. Maybe a teaspoon and a half of salt. A little garlic powder in there. And you stir it all up. A bigger bowl probably would have been recommended. Actually, probably would have been easier to stir it around with my hands, but I decided maybe that's not so good right about now while I was doing it for a video, and I didn't show myself washing my hands, which I guess I could have done, but didn't. And that's about it. Hope you guys like this video. If there's any suggestions that you have about different things that I can do for the filming, different ways I could do the voiceover, maybe talk less, talk more, I'd be happy to hear it. So this has been the ASMR Cook, and I hope to see you again next time. Bye.